Hi, I'm Anthony Sakovich, and this is your Clarity Case Study for the week. Once upon a time, there was a hierarchically organized oracle that knew exactly what it was. The year was 1994. Two Stanford PhD candidates, Jerry Yang and David Filo, were supposed to be working on their dissertations. Instead, they were staying up late building lists. You see, the internet was new. Browsers were brand new. The idea that you could just go somewhere online was new. But there was no map, no index, no way to know what existed or where to find it. So Yang and Filo started keeping track. They called it, get ready for this one, brilliant branding, Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web. It was a directory, a manually curated list of interesting sites organized by category. It was like they were writing their own yellow pages. It included 4 categories: education, entertainment, news, and government. If you wanted to explore the web, you started there. And people sure did. By late 1994, their server was getting 1 million hits a day. The traffic crashed Stanford's network. The university told them to move it off campus. So they did. They renamed their hierarchical oracle using an acronym that was a lot easier to say than hierarchical oracle. Or, never mind. The acronym stood for Yet Another Hierarchically Organized Oracle. And in March 1995, they incorporated. 1 month later, they launched Yahoo.com. The timing was perfect. The web was exploding. Netscape had just gone public. For those who aren't aware, Netscape was the first user-friendly browser. Before Chrome, before Safari, before any of it, there was Netscape. People were going to Radio Shack and buying modems. Yeah. America Online, otherwise known as AOL, was mailing CDs to every household in the country. You would load the software into your computer, and that way you could get onto the internet and you could find stuff. The internet was no longer a research tool for academics. It was fast becoming mass culture. And Yahoo was the front door. In January 1996, when Yahoo filed to go public, their mission statement was simple. Yahoo offers a globally branded internet navigational service to information and entertainment on the web. Not poetry, but purpose. Navigational service. Not a destination, not a platform, a service that helps you find what you're looking for in a world that has no landmarks yet. You see, that sense of purpose shaped everything Yahoo built. They launched Yahoo Mail in 1997. Free mail for everyone. No fee, no software to install. Real upgrade from AOL. Just an address that worked from any computer with a browser. Within a year, Yahoo Mail had 25 million users. They launched Yahoo Finance with real-time stock quotes, portfolio tracking, and news tied to the companies that you owned. Before Yahoo Finance, that kind of data cost you money. Yahoo gave it away and made it simple. They launched Yahoo News, a news aggregator. Yeah, the first one that pulled stories from hundreds of sources and organized them by category. You didn't need a subscription. You did not need to know which publication to follow. Yahoo brought the news to you. They launched Yahoo Sports, pretty much the same. Scores, schedules, stats, fantasy leagues. If you wanted to know what happened in last night's game, you went to Yahoo. They launched Yahoo Shopping, Yahoo Travel, Yahoo Personals, and Yahoo Games. Everything Yahoo built in those first 5 years followed the same logic. The internet is chaotic, and we make it navigable. We make it useful, and it worked. By 1998, Yahoo was the most visited site on the internet. More traffic than even AOL, the portal that was bringing people to the internet. More traffic than Microsoft, more traffic than anyone. Their stock price went parabolic. In January 1997, Yahoo's market cap was $500 million. That's $500 million. By the end of 99, just 2 years later, it had climbed past $100 billion. That's a 200-fold increase in value. $1 invested became $200. That's insane. Yahoo was not just winning. It was the internet for most people. If you wanted to email, you went to Yahoo. If you wanted news, you went to Yahoo. If you wanted stock quotes, sports scores, weather, horoscope, classifieds, or chat rooms, you went to Yahoo. The homepage became a command center. Everything you needed one click away. And the revenue model was clean. Advertisers paid to reach Yahoo's audience. The more people Yahoo attracted, the more valuable the ad inventory became. Growth fed growth. By January of 2000, Yahoo's market cap peaked at about $140 billion. That was more valuable than Disney, more valuable than General Motors and Ford combined. It felt inevitable. Yahoo had become the center of the internet, the place everyone started and the place everyone returned to. And then they changed their mission statement. All right, I'm going to come back to this in a minute. If you kind of like this sort of business storytelling and the lessons we can learn from it, feel free to go ahead and hit one of the buttons in one of the locations wherever the network is you're watching this, and hit like and subscribe or whatever it is you got to do. Send me a comment. I'd love to chat. But if you want to watch this live, the easiest thing to do is go to clarityspecialist.com. And you can go ahead and register there, and you'll be able to watch this live and participate with me on these kinds of calls. And if you have any questions or want to chat about the subject, that's where you can get me. That's clarityspecialist.com. And now, back to the story. We left off, it was December of 2000. The new mission statement read, Yahoo is a global internet communications, commerce, and media company that offers a comprehensive branded network of services to more than 166 million individuals each month worldwide. I'm not going to read that again, but I am going to go back and give you one piece that matters. A global internet communications, commerce, and media company. That's not a purpose. That's a Venn diagram of revenue streams. They stopped being a navigational service and became a company that offers services. And notice what disappeared. In 1996, just 4 years earlier, the mission statement acknowledged what the user needed, navigation. By 2000, the mission statement was about what Yahoo had: traffic, reach, recognition, a comprehensive branded network. The shift from we guide you to we're going to try and put everything together for you and be comprehensive happened in plain sight, and no one inside the building noticed because every quarter still looked like progress. But the internet had changed. In 1996, the problem was scarcity. There was not enough quality stuff online, and what existed was hard to find. Yahoo solved that problem by organizing everything that was worth it into categories and making it accessible. But by 2000, the problem was no longer scarcity. It was noise. There was too much online. There were too many pages, too many options, too many voices. The act of finding something useful had become exhausting. If Yahoo didn't have it on their page, you had to go out to the wilderness. And Yahoo's search engine wasn't very good. People did not need a directory anymore. They needed a filter. And Yahoo had stopped being a filter the moment it decided it was going to become a network. Because a network does not reduce options, it multiplies them. See, Yahoo's homepage, which had once felt like clarity, now felt like clutter. Dozens of links, hundreds of headlines, tabs for mail, news, finance, sports, shopping, games, chat, personal classifieds, travel, autos, and even real estate. Everything was there. That was the problem. Because then, in contrast, there was Google. Google had launched in 1998, 2 years before Yahoo rewrote its mission statement. At first, no one at Yahoo was worried. Google was just a search engine. In fact, they even licensed Google's software to run their own search engine. But before that, Yahoo had licensed it from other companies like Alta Vista and then Inktomi, and then eventually from Google. Search was a feature, one tool among dozens. Not the thing, just a thing. But Google was not thinking about search as a feature. Google was thinking about search as the entire solution to the problem. And they had something Yahoo did not. They had a governing belief. The belief was simple. The user does not want fixed options. The user wants dynamic, guided choices. That belief told Google's engineers what to optimize for: speed, accuracy, relevance. One answer, the right answer, at the top of the page as fast as possible. It told Google's designers what to remove, which was everything. The home page was a search box and nothing else. No news, no links, no categories, no clutter. It told Google's leadership what not to build. Anything that added friction between the question and the answer. When someone inside Google proposed a feature that would make the homepage more useful, like weather, stock quotes, or headlines, that belief was killed in the room before it ever left the doorway, because useful was not the goal. Resolution was. Yahoo had no equivalent constraint. So when the world shifted from "tell me what to do" to "I need suggestions," Yahoo kept building the same way it always had. More features, more partnerships, more content, more reasons to stay inside the network. All of it reasonable. None of it governed by a belief about what problem Yahoo existed to solve. You cannot build a network as big as the whole internet. But that did not mean Yahoo wasn't going to try. So naturally, Yahoo started acquiring. In April of '99, Yahoo paid $5.7 billion for Broadcast.com. At the time, it was the fourth largest internet acquisition in history. Broadcast.com was listen to this, it was a streaming media company with audio and video content, sports broadcast, radio shows, and music. Now, if this acquisition does not ring a bell, you may not be aware that Google owns YouTube. Broadcast.com had an audience, and Yahoo wanted access to that audience. The logic was simple. More content means more reasons to visit Yahoo. More reasons to visit means more time spent on the network. More time on the network means more ad impressions. It made sense, but it did not answer the question that Yahoo had stopped asking. What problem does this solve that only we can solve? Broadcast.com got absorbed into the Yahoo ecosystem. It became another section, another tab, another proof point that Yahoo was comprehensive. Not essential, but comprehensive. 3 months later, Yahoo paid $3.57 billion for GeoCities. Listen to this. GeoCities was a web hosting service that let people build personal home pages. Millions of users, entire neighborhoods of fan sites, hobby pages, family photo albums, and niche obsessions. Think about it. Does that sound familiar? It was the creative internet before social media platforms taught people how to perform for tricks, for treats. Yahoo saw an audience and bought it. But GeoCities did not need Yahoo's directory. It needed curation, identity, and tools that made creation easier. Yahoo treated it like inventory. More pages, more traffic, more surface area for ads. GeoCities users did not want to be integrated into Yahoo's network. They wanted to be left alone to build weird personal corners of the web that did not have to make sense to anyone else. Yahoo never understood that. They never actually understood how to break that into a demographic on which they could sell ads, because that was their model. By 2009, GeoCities was shut down. Millions of pages were gone, not because they weren't valuable. I mean, Facebook came out and proved they would be valuable, but because Yahoo never figured out what they were for. The pattern repeated. Every acquisition told the same story. Yahoo saw an audience and assumed that owning the audience was the same as serving the audience. But without a governing belief, without something that told Yahoo what mattered and what did not, ownership meant nothing. Meanwhile, Google kept winning. Not because Google had better engineers. Yahoo had great engineers. Not because Google had more resources. Yahoo had plenty of resources. Google won because every decision inside Google was constrained by a single belief. Give the user resolution, not categorized options. That constraint made Google fast. It made Google focused. It made Google feel different. When you went to Yahoo, you were walking into what was basically the Mall of America. Lots to see, lots to explore, no urgency, just being overwhelmed. When you went to Google, you were asking a question, and Google gave you an answer. Fast, clean, done. By 2004, Google's market share in search had overtaken Yahoo's. Yahoo panicked. They tried to compete. They built their own search technology, but they redesigned the homepage to make search more prominent. They acquired Overture, a search advertising company, for $1.63 billion. But it was too late. Because the problem was not search technology. The problem was purpose. Google existed to answer questions. Yahoo existed to give you reasons to stay. See, those are incompatible goals. Let me explain this clearly. Yahoo's goal was to give you an answer that kept you on their page. Google gave you the answer that drove you off their page. And when you try to serve incompatible goals, you end up serving neither. But Yahoo kept acquiring. In 2005, they bought Flickr for just $25 million. A photo sharing platform with a passionate community and a distinct culture. Yahoo integrated it into the Yahoo network, required Yahoo logins, tried to make it look like every other Yahoo property. The community revolted, slowly at first, and then all at once. Why? Because Yahoo was revolting. I had to use the joke. By the time Instagram launched in 2010, Flickr was already fading. In 2013, Yahoo paid $1.1 billion for Tumblr. Tumblr was alive. It had voice, subcultures, chaos, and creativity. It was messy and weird and exactly the kind of place where people actually live their online lives. Yahoo's CEO at the time, Marissa Mayer. She promised not to screw it up. But here's the thing about promises. Promises are not axioms. What Yahoo needed was a belief strong enough to say, Tumblr succeeds because it is not us. Our job is to protect what makes it different, even when that conflicts with what we think we know. Even when it goes against our interests in trying to define the demographics so we can sell ads there. Instead, Yahoo did what it always did. It optimized for Yahoo. It added ads in ways that broke the experience. It made policy decisions that alienated the core community. It treated Tumblr like another property to integrate, not a world to protect. In 2016, Tumblr's value had collapsed. Yahoo sold it in 2019 for $3 million. Not 300 million, Just $3 million. From $1.1 billion to $3 million in 6 years. Not because Tumblr died, but because Yahoo never knew what they had bought. By the time Yahoo tried to name what it had now become, the language had turned to like vapor. The mission statement eventually read, Yahoo's vision is to be the center of people's online lives by delivering personally relevant, meaningful internet experiences. So they were no longer a center. They were no longer a guide. They were now a deliverer of experiences. Personally relevant, meaningful internet experiences. I'm sorry, but that's the kind of phrase you write. Actually, it's the kind of phrase you read when somebody forgot to replace the lorem ipsum. They had forgotten what they're trying to say. It's the mission statement of a company that doesn't want to exclude anything because excluding something feels like failure. But meaning requires exclusion. See, Google had a governing belief, one constraint. Everything else was subordinate. Yahoo knew what it did. 1,000 things. All of them reasonable, none of them definitive. By the time leadership realized the portal model was dying, there was no foundation to pivot on. There was no point, no belief to return to, no sentence strong enough to say, this matters more than that. In 2008, Microsoft offered to buy Yahoo for $44.6 billion. Honestly, that was charity. So Yahoo turned it down. By 2016, Yahoo sold its core business to Verizon for not $44 billion, but $4.48 billion. That's a 90% collapse in just 8 years. Actually, a lot more than that, because remember, they started at $140 billion. But it wasn't because Yahoo stopped trying. Yahoo never stopped trying. But here's what a governing belief does that a mission statement cannot. A mission statement tells you what you want to be. A governing belief tells you what you are not allowed to become. Google's belief that the user does not want options and that the user wants resolution did not just guide decisions, it killed options. It made entire categories of features impossible to build, no matter how profitable they might have been. Yahoo had no equivalent constraint, so every reasonable idea became a yes. Every audience became a target. Every acquisition made sense in isolation. And 20 years of reasonable decisions added up to a company that did everything and meant nothing. Yahoo knew exactly what it was in 1996, when it was a hierarchical oracle. I still can't do it, I'm sorry. By 2000, it had forgotten. And once you forget, no amount of talent, resources, or effort can save you. Because you are no longer building towards something. You're just stacking up piles of stuff. That's not a growth business. That's a yard sale. And nobody's going to invest in your yard sale. So that was the story of Yahoo and how living without an axiom, without that set of core beliefs, took them from $140 billion down to, well, now they're privately held. They don't even have a value anymore. If you learned anything from this and you think you might learn from more, do me a favor. Click like, click follow, wherever you find it, or simply go to clarityspecialist.com, where you can go ahead and sign up to get automatic updates, to remind you to tune in, to give you access to archived copies, but also to let you be part of the live broadcast. so that you can go ahead, ask questions, do the things, and just be part of this, because I would love to have more input. I get messages after, so I try to address those. But for right now, try to go ahead and be online. Be live with me on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And again, that's clarityspecialist.com. In the meantime, this is Anthony Sakovich, clarityprofessor.com. Great program. I know, I built it myself. And I will see you Friday at 1 o'clock. Take care.